Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. We are awaiting the presence of the Phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll see him maybe Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem. But for right now, night 2 of the WWE Draft. As part of Monday Night Raw this evening, more draft picks are going to be announced in the coming minutes on the Raw Talk show. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. So with all that being said, before we start with the review of tonight's show, there was a supplemental draft that went down as part of the Talking Smack that went down on Saturday morning, and I am going to address those picks right here and right now. So here they are. Staying on Monday Night Raw, Humberto Carrillo. Heading to SmackDown, Murphy. Heading to Raw, Drew Gulak. Staying on SmackDown, Kalisto. And going to Raw, Tucker, which means Heavy Machinery, has now been split up. So those were the supplemental picks that went down as part of Talking Smack this past Saturday morning. In a little while, in just a matter of moments, we're going to have more picks announced on Raw Talk, and I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on it. So with all that being said, let's get into tonight's action. And one other quick news bit. Now that I just remembered, the Thunderdome has been extended one more month. That was reported by our own Michael Bullock this afternoon. WWE extending their lease on the Thunderdome for at least one more month. So, in all likelihood, that's going to mean Survivor Series will be there next month, and it'll probably be right around Thanksgiving weekend or so. That will be the end of the Thunderdome. So with all that, let's get into the action that was tonight as part of night 2 of the WWE Draft on Monday Night Raw. We started it off with an in-ring segment, the Viper Randy Orton, and he would then be interrupted by Drew McIntyre, the WWE champion, and all hell breaks loose, and that's really all there was on that. And I mean, that was a fun way to start. I mean, these guys, I mean, we're not going to really go too much into this because I know MF usually doesn't really address the segments on his show, but the feud I think this feud has run its course and does not need more long talking segments. While the promos did break down into a brawl, it was a bland way to sell a story so far into its run, especially on a night that had so much promised ahead of time. Hopefully, with both men remaining on the same show, their Hell in a Cell match ends the feud all the same. The match should be great, but there's little left to say in the coming weeks. So we're not going to get into that because we got way too much to get into. So hopefully, we can keep the thoughts at somewhat of a minimum, folks. So that's all there is to say on that. So let's get into the first round of night 2 of the 2020 WWE Draft, presided over as always by the $1 Billion Princess Stephanie McMahon. And the Fiend is coming to Monday nights. The Fiend Bray Wyatt is number 1. Staying on SmackDown, the SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley. Staying on Raw, the Viper, Randy Orton, going to Monday Night Raw, or I should say, going to Friday Night SmackDown. At the time, the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, and staying on Monday Night Raw, the Queen, Charlotte Flair, although she is on the injured list. So, yeah. Wow. I'm very pleased for The Fiend. I mean, The Fiend to Raw was expected because he can remain heel and maybe eventually feud with Drew McIntyre. And Street Profits going to SmackDown, that was also expected once Kofi and Xavier were drafted to Raw. And, that was very interesting. And, they came up with a way. They came up with a way to rectify the situation. So everybody's happy. So I'm happy. MF's happy in that regard because you remember Kofi and Xavier, SmackDown won the SmackDown Tag Team Championship Friday night on SmackDown. And it was because of that, we thought that the SmackDown tag titles were going to be exclusive to Raw. But then from there, okay, that's good news for MF. So we'll see if that holds up. But anyways, Street Profits, of course, were the Raw Tag Team Champions, winning them several months ago, pre-pandemic era. And so what they did, Adam Pearce suggested a belt swap. So the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, they're now the Raw Tag Team Champions. And the Street Profits are now the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So there was a small part of me that thought maybe they were going to do that. But at the same time, I was thinking, would they really be crazy enough to do it? Answer, yes, they were crazy enough to do it. So, wow, I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did. Awesome. So that's that. Bayley, SmackDown, no surprise there. She is the champ after all. Orton staying. That's not a surprise considering the feud with McIntyre. The Queen. I mean, that's a big coup for our women's division. I mean, we need it. I mean, especially once she's ready to come back. So that's all I can say on that. So solid first round. I mean, I did read a dirt sheet saying that The Fiend and Seth Rollins were going to be swapping shows, and that dirt sheet proved right. Seth Rollins is now on SmackDown. The Fiend's now on Raw. So I'm very pleased with that. So nothing more to say. MF, looking at the first round of night 2, I know you weren't happy about losing The Fiend, but other than that, what anything else stand out to you?
No, I mean, after losing The Fiend, we did get Street Profits. That was a good move. And we also ended up getting, we ended up keeping Bayley, which, that was not really a big surprise, but it is good news for the women's division because of the fact that we do keep Sasha, we keep Bayley, we got Bianca Belair. So obviously we got some work to do in the division, but I'm pretty happy with the way that it played out. I thought they did really well with it. At the end of the day, it was a nice little pickup for SmackDown. Obviously, I didn't want to lose The Fiend. Obviously, I didn't want to lose what I felt was one of the big names that we got in last year in the draft a couple of years ago. Bray Wyatt was one of the biggest names, and he was one of our big key components. But obviously, they felt like this is the right decision for them. Raw snatched them immediately. I don't blame them for that. That's a great pickup for them, and that's going to make them very exciting for Monday Night Raw. So I mean, Raw needed guys to pay dividends, and he pays a lot of dividends for the show. So yeah, that was a big scoop for them, and I'm happy with the picks that we got. Obviously, I'm not happy about the Fiend leaving and going to Raw, but all in all, I thought we did pretty well with the first round. So nothing more to say. Didi, it's yours.
Yeah, the first round really, to me, wasn't too big of a surprise because I pretty much knew they were going to put the Street Profits on SmackDown because they had said they were trying to keep the couples together. We all know Belair is married to Ford of the Street Profits, so that's natural. You're going to move them over there. I was kind of hoping that's what they would do with the belts, was swap them out, because either way, each show was going to have a belt, even if they didn't swap them out. It's just that the Raw would have been on SmackDown, but at least they went ahead and they swapped it, so the right belts are back on the right show. Not entirely surprised that they moved the Fiend, but there's a whole new set here now of I guess you could say victims for him to try to convert now. So we'll see what happens with that. Plus, now that Braun Strowman's over here, also, I mean that just kind of helps build whatever storyline they had going with that as well. So, but yeah, they were very good draft picks, and I am certainly not surprised with how it went. So Charlotte staying, Bailey staying. I'm with Fletch. I'm okay with how it came out. So yeah, I've got nothing more to add. It's yours, Florio.
All right, more results in a bit, but let's get into our first match of the night. And MF will start off on this. Kevin Owens versus Aleister Black, no disqualification match. Kevin Owens wins the match, 12 minutes and 10 seconds. Oh, I see some more noise being made there. All right. So nothing more to say on this. KO wins it, 12 minutes, 10 seconds. MF, what a no disqualification match. They definitely took advantage of the stipulation the whole way through.
Absolutely. It was a hell of a fight. What an entertaining match for the fans in the Thunderdome. Tonight I actually was sitting on it. I wasn't in there. They gave me that's fine. I got to enjoy it. Besides, my heart was towards something a little different as well too. But it was a great match. It was a great fight, and it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I loved it. You could easily say 3.5 stars. This was a very good false count anywhere match. No holds barred. They used all the elements. They used, it went all over the Thunderdome. There was steel chairs involved, but Owens gets the win. That's the key factor in it, is that Owens gets a big win. Maybe this is the close of the storyline for these guys. There's really nothing more to add here. So, big win for KO. Now you kind of have to feel like he's probably going to have to deal with The Fiend. But all in all, big win, big night. And yeah, there's really nothing more to add. So, Dee Woodson, it's all yours.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5. It was a very good match. And like you said, they pretty much did everything, used everything. And it really went very well for the type of match it was. The no disqualification. They did a great job with it. I really have no negative to say on this. But yeah, I really do hope this feud's over, because this is another one that was just going beyond, go home type thing. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, draft picks we have some breaking news on draft picks from the Raw Talk show. Lana is staying on Raw, to my dismay. Good news for you, MF. You just got Natalya. Natalya's going to SmackDown.
I don't mind it. She's a veteran voice, and that's somebody that I would not mind. Now that we split Lana and Natalya, I'm happy with that.
Riddick Moss staying on Monday Night Raw. Oh, MF, the Riot Squad.
Oh, yes!
Riot Squad coming home.
I love it. Great decision. SmackDown Live, I love you. Thank you. We needed this. That's a shot in the arm. A, 2 great single female wrestlers. B, they might be the team that we might want to represent that could be our women's tag team champions. So that's a perfect team to get for SmackDown. I'm ecstatic. Great move. Happy.
And finally, staying on Monday Night Raw, Arturo Ruas from Raw Underground. So
actually, all 3 guys, if I remember correct, I think all 3 guys right now are actually all Raw Underground guys that Raw just scooped. Yeah, Raw Underground, they scooped all 3 of them.
Yep. So there you have it. Lana's staying on Raw. Natalia's going to Friday Night SmackDown. Riddick Moss is staying on Raw. The Riot Squad going back to where they became a household name. You remember that it was on SmackDown Live a few years ago. They burst onto the scene, and package deal. You got them both. You're getting both Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, a newly improved Liv Morgan. So the Riot Squad going back to SmackDown, and Arturo Ruas from Raw Underground. So we'll keep an eye on the supplemental on these supplemental picks as it goes forward. But yeah. As far as KO and Black goes, I 100% agree. I mean, this was a fantastic match. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star for me. This was a fun end to a physical war where the hero got his revenge. KO and Black worked well together and they fought hard. It was a bigger match in execution than WWE ever made it out to be. It was just a shame that the Dutch Destroyer came out looking so much worse than KO, as they should be on equal footing. The problem with the whole feud was that both men needed the win too much. KO could move right into the title picture, should move right into the title picture. Black needs to start destroying everyone in his way quickly. So that's really all we can say on that. All right, next round, the second round. And I'll tell you what, out of all the rounds in this draft tonight, or I should say altogether, I would have to say this was the most exciting round. Of the 5 picks, we had 4 shakeups, only 1 status quo pick. So here you go. Moving to Monday Night Raw, the monster among men, Braun Strowman. Strowman is back on Monday nights. I couldn't be any more happier to have him back. Staying on Friday Night SmackDown, status quo, the leader of the Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan. He's staying on SmackDown. So a big one for MF. Moving to Monday Night Raw, the original bro, Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's moving to Raw. And once again, heading back to Friday Night SmackDown, Kevin Owens. KO back on SmackDown. And heading to Monday Night Raw, the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy. So that's all it is. Now, when it comes to the draft picks, we'll start it with me and go on down the line. But let me tell you, this was the most exciting of all the rounds. I mean, 1 status quo pick, 4 shakeups, big ones. I mean, Strowman, Riddle, and Hardy all on Monday Night Raw. Great to have Jeff Hardy back. He can be that veteran that can help get the younger guys over. Strowman, we know what he can do. Matt Riddle. Now, I'm not high on his gimmick, but I am high on his ability. I love his in-ring work, and he could be a future breakout star on Monday Night Raw. No doubt about it, if he can keep his nose clean. So that's all I can say on that. KO going back to SmackDown. You kind of had a feeling, but then again, with the Fiend gone, I mean, that really didn't make any sense. But, it is what it is. And D-Bry staying on SmackDown. I mean, I know MF's got to be happy about that. So, oh my goodness, Atlanta. Wow. All right. So that's all there is to say on this. So MF, like I said, out of all the rounds in the draft combined, this one was the most exciting. 4 shakeups, 1 status quo, although the status quo pick benefited you guys because you got Daniel Bryan staying. And you got Kevin Owens coming back. So all in all, I'm happy with who Raw got. I mean, Strowman coming back, I'm happy about that. Riddle could be a breakout star, and Hardy can be that veteran to help get the younger guys over. So very pleased with the Raw picks, no doubt about it. So MF, your thoughts on on your SmackDown picks. You got Daniel Bryan staying, and you got KO coming back.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan is that veteran voice. He's going to be the stalwart. He's going to be unbelievable. Obviously, he's out right now, taking care of his family. So I don't know if that's just going to be something we're going to see down the line. We don't know if it's going to be at the end of the day what we're going to see with Daniel Bryan. Owens has always been one of those guys. He's a hardworking guy. He's been in your face. He's been kicking your butt. Like I said, this was a big move for him to stay on, to go to SmackDown. Obviously, they want to bring a lot of the veteran voice of it, and I think that's a guy that we desperately needed, a veteran leader. And now you got two guys who are, believe it or not, staples of Ring of Honor. I mean, this is kind of a little bit of a throw for me because, I mean, I've seen Owens for a number of years working his way up. He's a hard worker. He's, one of those faces of the company. Daniel Bryan, we already know Daniel Bryan. Like, I mean, the Yes Movement, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, we haven't seen Daniel in a while in the ring. It could be a number of ways you can do this. Daniel could be, the veteran voice that, what he did like with Drew Gulak. He could be that kind of guy. He could be obviously a world champion if he wanted it to be. He can be a GM style guy. So he's very versatile that we could use him. I don't know how they're going to use him in this upcoming, in this style of iteration for the WWE, but we'll see. Matt Riddle, again, Anthony, you said it. Riddle is one of those that is a young up-and-coming star, but he did ruffle a few feathers on SmackDown. Seth Rollins didn't want him there. I know there was a couple of guys that didn't want Riddle on SmackDown and wanted him gone, based off some stuff that happened recently and some comments that were made by Riddle outside of the ring on social media that kind of, rubbed a few people the wrong way. So, I mean, Riddle's your problem now, Florio, so good luck with that. Strowman, obviously, they wanted it to do it because of what happened with him and Keith Lee not too long ago. So, obviously, that was the right decision to do there. Obviously, I wanted it to keep Strowman, but I think there was really nothing more for Strowman to have done on SmackDown. I think he ran his course. It's time for him to go back to Raw. And basically everything else was pretty much status quo if you think about it. So, I mean, yeah, there was a couple of shakeups in that second round, but, it is what it is. It was pretty good. Not bad. So, Didi, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, this was a very good round for the draft. This one was a little bit more surprising, but at the same time, we need the shakeup. Strowman, I kind of figured was going to go. Was surprised to see Hardy go to Raw. KO, a little bit of a surprise. Not surprised on Daniel Bryan, and not really super surprised on Matt Riddle. But it's good to see though that they have moved him around a little bit. So. Hopefully Jeff will get his push over here on Raw instead of trying to rebuild the tag team with Matt Riddle. So we'll see what happens when all this starts on the new season that I guess is starting next week. So not much more I'm going to say. It's yours, Florio.
It'll actually start Friday night on SmackDown with the season premiere of that, and then Raw season premiere next week. Big things have been announced for both of those. So, anywho, let's get back into the action here. All right, then we had another throwaway segment. We had Miz TV, Miz and Morrison. Of course, Miz and Morrison, now part of Monday Night Raw. And their guests, they had two guests. They were Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And no big surprise, Mandy Rose got in Miz's face, obviously, brought up the whole Otis thing. We all knew that. And then Natty and then Natalya and Lana came in, and then all hell broke loose. And then they had a break, and then they still had the show going. And then Lars Sullivan interrupted, and Lars Sullivan pretty much took out John Morrison. But I got to say that was a bit of a throwaway segment, if I'm going to be honest with you. It was a messy and honestly awkward segment from start to finish. Miz and Morrison may be charismatic, but their current personas are lifeless. There's no spark to Miz TV, despite WWE overusing it to the extreme. Going back to Mandy Rose versus The Miz certainly did not help anything. Hopefully, the teases of Miz abandoning Morrison lead somewhere. This team can still work, but not in this current form. It might just be best to split them up and run with the two as singles competitors. And I think Morrison deserves better than bumping for the Freak. So that's really all there was to say on that. So, all right, let me see here.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure, Didi.
Okay, the persona or background storyline going on this is that all this is going to stem right back to that feud we had with Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose.
Very likely.
This is what I've been hearing. This is what I've been getting from all the research I've done on it. She was the one that supposedly is Mrs. Contact. So she's the one that's behind everything. So that's why I guess they're still doing this. Is they're getting that door open so they can bring her back in now that she's had some time off. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. So, yeah, Dee's absolutely right. Sonya Deville's name was brought up during that segment. And you all remember we haven't seen Sonya since she lost that match to Mandy Rose at SummerSlam, which was originally supposed to be a hair versus hair match, but then was changed to a loser leaves town match because of the whole situation with Sonya Deville and that Stalkers. So, but anyways, hopefully she's doing well, keeping her in our prayers. So, nothing more to say on that. And then, of course, that led into the tag title switching with the New Day getting the Raw, the Street Profits getting the SmackDown belts, and that's all there was to say on that. And now we move on to the third round of the draft. Staying on Monday Night Raw, another problem for us, Retribution. But then again, after the revelation of last week, I mean, we'll see what happens. Speaking of problems, MF, you're going to have a big problem on SmackDown because the Freak Lars Sullivan is going to Friday nights. So he's going to be your problem now, big boy. Sorry to say. Keith Lee, he's staying on Monday Night Raw. And another problem for MF, King Corbin is staying on SmackDown. And a big pickup for me, thank you, Fiend, because Alexa Bliss is now heading back to Monday Night Raw. And quite frankly, I couldn't be any more delighted. So looking at this round, another good round for Raw. I mean, I was very pleased with how this came out, with the exception of Retribution. But, after the Ali situation, maybe something's going to lead to, maybe something big's going to come out of that. I hope so. But I'm very happy about Keith Lee. I mean, now that he and Strowman are on the same show, it was announced that next week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw, Keith Lee will go one-on-one with Braun Strowman. Why that's a regular wrestling match is beyond me, but, it is what it is. And Alexa Bliss, now I know it's not the same Alexa Bliss. It's not the one that always made me say, "Oh my God," it's on commentary. But it's the Fiend's new lady friend there. So I'll be interested to see what this new incarnation of Alexa Bliss will bring. And another shot in the arm to the women's division of Monday Night Raw. We desperately needed it, and bam, we got it. So other than Retribution, unless something big comes out of that, I'm iffy on that. But I'm very pleased to have Keith Lee staying with us and Alexa Bliss coming back home to us. So I'm very pleased with that. So there's nothing more to say. So MF, you heard my thoughts on the Raw side of things. Let's get your SmackDown perspective. Unfortunately, you still have that pain in the ass to deal with in King Corbin. But You got a freak coming, Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, and the thing is that Lars was supposed to be on SmackDown, asked to be the big monster of the group. So he's back. Okay, we'll deal with it. Corbin, a veteran of WWE. Yeah, I know, I get it. A lot of people are not happy about it, especially on the SmackDown side. I don't blame them. I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. He's a really good heel. We can utilize him. We could work that. We'll have to figure that out one way or another. So, um, yeah, really nothing more to add. At least for SmackDown, it was okay, but Monday Night Raw definitely got the better of this one. But again, no big surprise that Alexa went over, because obviously with her little thing with the Fiend right now, obviously they can't break that up at any time or any point. You're gonna want to work that angle with them working together, and you saw how that played out tonight. So no, I'm not surprised. Right decision, right move. Nothing more to add. Didi, it's yours.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Did anybody catch the retribution where you're down to 4 with Ali now? Martinez, I guess, has gone back to NXT, so she's not part of Retribution anymore. Lars Sullivan is in trouble again, so we'll have to wait and see how long he's actually going to be on SmackDown. Apparently, there is some sort of a leak on some, I guess, emails or direct messages or something he's done to some female that has got him in hot water again. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens with that. But yeah, this was definitely more in Raw's favor out of the picks. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. This was fairly decent, a decent round. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. Moving on, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins with his farewell address, because as you know, Seth Rollins drafted to Friday Night SmackDown, much to the delight of MF, and he was interrupted. He was interrupted by Jeff Hardy, and then interrupted by AJ Styles. All hell breaks loose after that, and Jeff Hardy says, "I want both of you guys in a triple threat tag team match." I'm like, what? Triple threat tag team match? Must be high again, dude. All right. But we got a triple threat match. Seth Rollins, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles. Winner of the match in an even 14 minutes, the phenomenal AJ Styles with a little help from Elias. Didi Woodson, what do you make of all this?
This is basically an old storyline that's come back. We're going back now to that storyline where Jeff was framed for the car accident, and we still haven't had exact proof of who it was. I mean, he accused Sheamus, which we all know how that played out. I mean, Jeff won that bar fight, but yeah, now all of a sudden we have Elias that's coming back, and his target is Jeff Hardy because it was Jeff's car, and he swears Jeff was the one that was behind the wheel. So we'll just kind of have to see how this storyline plays out. But yeah, AJ wins with help from Elias. So I'll give it probably 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, it was going really good until Elias came out. But of course, this is all storyline progression and rebringing up a storyline that really has not been completed yet. So we need to kind of finish this one out. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Florio.
Definitely. 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, teetering on 4. This, I gotta say, this was the fight of the night. This was an incredible end to Seth Rollins' run on Raw. While Hardy was out of sorts in moments, the action was so fast-paced that sloppy moments can be forgiven. All 3 men showed off throughout. In particular, AJ Styles and Seth Rollins still have untapped chemistry. Elias's return was a cool moment, and it'll be interesting to see what he can bring out of a rivalry with the charismatic Enigma. He is better as a heel and spent too much time playing the face. Good to have him back in that role. So, nothing more to say on this. 3 3/4 of a star, teetering on 4. You can make an argument easily for fight of the night here. So, nothing more to say. MF, your boy's back, Elias.
Yeah, and he's back with a vengeance. I mean, he's throwing the hay after he's basically throwing Jeff Hardy under. He's thinking that Jeff was responsible for what he did, for him getting hurt. I mean, you kind of have a feeling that it sounds like they're setting it up where we could get Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, and Elias again. And I don't know if, Florio, if you really want to go down that road again, that storyline, but it looks like they are thinking of it. And, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. There's really nothing more for me to add here. It was all right. It was fine for what it was worth. The match was solid, but just to see what Elias did, I don't know. I guess we'll wait and find out. So jury's out at lunch on that one. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
You ready for another round of picks?
Let's do it.
Round 4. Speaking of Elias to Monday Night Raw. No surprise there. Good news, MF. You're even though they were announced separately, all 3 members of the formerly known Artist Collaborative, they're all going to be staying on SmackDown. The Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Lame Duck Man, Sami Zayn, he's staying on Friday nights. Moving to Monday Night Raw, another shot in the arm for our women's division, the sassy Southern Belle, Lacey Evans. She's now on Team Red. I couldn't be any more happier about that. And yes, MF, good news. Your former tag team champions, Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, package deal. They're staying on Friday nights. And the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus, he is heading back to Monday Night Raw. So looking at this, Elias, Lacey Evans, and Sheamus. Well, no surprise about Elias, especially after what had happened. That was a dead giveaway that he was going to be going to Raw, especially after Jeff Hardy was announced. Lacey Evans, big shot in the arm for our women's division. Another potential breakout dark horse in the women's division. And Sheamus, I mean, there's another veteran right there, and he is very good. And we all know his friendship with Drew McIntyre. That could be a title feud down the road. We might want to keep an eye on that down the line. But I'm very pleased to have the Celtic Warrior back on Raw. Lacey, welcome to the women's division. Big shot in the arm there. And Elias, I've never really been overly high on him, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But Sammy, Cesaro, and Nakamura staying on SmackDown. That's no big surprise. I was kind of hoping the Intercontinental title would have come to Raw, considering that's my title and it's my show, and I really wanted the IC belt back, but apparently that's not going to happen. And well, then again, Lashley is the U.S. champion, part of the Hurt Business, so I guess it makes sense. So that's all there is to say on that. So I'm pleased with the Raw picks, and the SmackDown picks, no big surprise. So really nothing more to say. When it comes to these picks, me and MF will address our specific brands first, and then a little thought on our brand after. And Didi will be our neutral voice there. So nothing more to say. So MF, Sammy, Cesaro, Nakamura, they're all staying on SmackDown, and more importantly, the Intercontinental Heavyweight title staying on Friday nights.
Yeah, and the thing is that that had to be done. If we would have lost the IC title, I mean that would have been really bad. I know, I get it. I'm not a big fan of Sami Zayn, but he's the Intercontinental Champion. We need him. As much as we may not want it, we need him. So we got it. That was a good move, big decision, big moment for us, and I'm happy with that. But that was a good pick. That was a good pickup. Then you go beyond that with Nakamura and Cesaro. That's great for SmackDown. We need veteran names and big names for that matter. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with SmackDown that you kind of feel like they're turning it into like that old land of opportunity. Yes, they're not big names, but they're recognizable names. They're not the biggest stars of WWE right now. Basically, those were turning into Monday Night Raw. But these are guys that that are hardworking. They'll bust their butts. They'll do whatever they need to do to get the job done and to perform at the highest level. This was SmackDown's bread and butter. This is how SmackDown has always been. And that's why a lot of people's like, oh, the A-list guys, the top stars, the biggest names go to Monday Night Raw, but the SmackDown guys are the ones who are like the workhorse, the blue-collar guys, the guys who bust their butts to perform for these fans. So I feel like we ended up getting two really, really good veterans at the end of the day. So I'm happy with the decision. I'm happy with the result. There's really nothing more for me to say. So Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, these were good picks as well. This one, I think, SmackDown definitely benefited from keeping Sami Zayn, keeping Shinsuke and Cesaro. Raw benefited from, definitely from Lacey moving over, and tying the loose ends to end, all the feuds that she had on SmackDown, especially the ones with Sasha and Bailey. Those are really big feuds for her. So now she's got a whole new playground to play in again, and to work her way now up to, possibly battling Asuka or whoever will have that title when she gets up there. And of course, moving Sheamus over, that's going to possibly continue the storyline with Jeff and Elias, possibly. If not, we'll continue to see him beat up on a lot of the younger guys that comes in and stuff. So, still, it was still good moves. Definitely a shakeup here, especially in Raw's women division. So, not much more I'm going to add. It's yours, Foil.
All right, so we got to go back to some cutout stuff here. Tag team match, women's tag team match. Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke against Natalya and Lana. Mandy and Dana win the match 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And, well, that was a dud. But Natty said, this is not working out. I'm done. So Natty and Lana going their separate ways, which is no big surprise because, as you know, just moments ago, Natalya was drafted to Friday Night SmackDown. So I know MF is very pleased with that. That's a big acquisition for his women's division. So that's really all there is to say on that. So another dud match. What else is new there? Here's a match that could have been something special, but unfortunately they mucked this up. Angel Garza against Andrade. Angel Garza wins. 2.5 minutes. That's it. Nah, honey. No. It would have been preferred that Garza Andrade went longer, but the two had a fun, quick sprint. El Idolo got the show off and clearly still needs Zelina Vega on his side. It looks like they will reform while Garza goes off on his own. this seems like the best option. A mixed tag team match is on the horizon with fascinating potential. Andrade and Vega can solidify the pairing of Wyatt and Bliss while finding their footing together again. And this is a story that could be exactly what El Idolo needs, because you remember during this match, The Fiend and Alexa Bliss showed up. So perhaps we could see a mixed tag down the road with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss against Andrade and Vega. I mean, you put Andrade with The Fiend, that actually could work. That could work. Two good workers there, and Bliss and Vega, that could be a fun little women's rivalry there. I mean, Vega's slowly improving, still needs a little work, but still improving. So, you know, that there's some potential there. So very pleased. Okay, next round of the draft. Little bit of everything for everyone. Heading to Monday Night Raw. Wow, another shot in the arm for the women's division. Nikki Cross, the Twisted Sister, coming to Monday night. Yes, sir. Score one for Team Red. But SmackDown gets one back. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, package deal. They're going to Friday Night SmackDown. Unfortunately, staying on Raw. The 24/7 champion, R-Truth. Blah. But another shot in the arm for MF. Apollo Crews heading back to SmackDown. And staying on Monday Night Raw from Raw Underground, Dabba-Kato. He's staying on Monday Night Raw. So I am very pleased with Nikki Cross. I mean, she has come a long way. And another big name for the women's division. Our women's division is really starting to take shape now. I mean, with the Queen, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. We got Naomi the other night, and we got Lacey Evans tonight, and now throw in Nikki Cross. Wow, big improvement for the women's division. I'm very pleased with our women's division, no question about that. And I could really do without R-Truth and the 24/7 nonsense, but you know, it is what it is. And Dabba-Kato, obviously, Raw Underground, even though it hasn't been around for a few weeks because of the COVID stuff. So, you know, if they push him as a wrestler, he could be a future freak someday. So that's all I can say there. And as far as SmackDown goes, Ziggler and Roode, they're going back to SmackDown. I'm sure MF's got to be happy about that. And Apollo Crews, I mean, here's a guy who became the United States Heavyweight Champion earlier this year. And he's going back to SmackDown new and improved. So who knows? Maybe he could be a future foil for Sami Zayn and the Intercontinental title. So he could be a future Intercontinental champion when all is said and done. So that's all there is to say on that. So other than R-Truth, I'm pleased. I mean, Kato's got a future. We'll see. But Nikki Cross, I mean, another big name for our women's division. I'm very pleased. Women's division definitely taking shape on Monday nights. No doubt about it. Very pleased. MF, I know you're very pissed because I know how much you love Nikki Cross, and I know that's a big blow for your women's division. But hey, you got Ziggler and Roode coming back, and you got a new and improved Apollo Crews coming back to Team Blue.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic with Team Blue. You know, obviously, if you really look at it, our tag team division is really shored up now. Like we're looking really good tag team wise. I mean, at the end of the day, we did snatch Nakamura and Cesaro. We got Roode and Ziggler. So all of a sudden, the tag team division on SmackDown is really, I mean, we got some strong teams now in the tag team division. So obviously that's a big move. Yes, Apollo Crews will be a big name for us as well because of the fact that, you know, we could work them into the mix as it pertains to at the end of the day, as it will pertain to the Intercontinental division. I mean, we got ourselves some very interesting talent coming into the fold here. So obviously, you know, it is going to be a little bit of a chess match to work with to try to incorporate all these guys together. Sammy, you got some work cut out, especially in the Intercontinental Division. And if you're the Street Profits right now, seeing um, seeing Nakamura and Cesaro, and more importantly, now seeing Rude and Ziggler coming from Raw to SmackDown, you're looking at this and you're like, okay, we gotta sell some. We got some work to do, boys. So they finally shored everything up. Obviously, the one problem that I now notice on SmackDown is that, yeah, the women's division's getting raided, and that's not good. That really hurts us. We're getting torn to bits when it comes to the women's division. The women's division, that was one of the heart and souls of SmackDown. We're hurting a little bit here. We only got Sasha Banks. We got Naomi.
Naomi's on Raw.
I mean, not Naomi.
Bayley.
No, not Bailey. Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
We got Sasha. We got Bianca. We got Bailey. But that's a power 3. But look at what's happened. We've lost Lacey. We lost Alexa. We lost Nikki. We lost Naomi from the other night. So, I mean, that's 4 monster names off the SmackDown roster that we had just a couple of weeks ago. And it hurts. Dana Brooke gone. Even though Mandy Rose was, yes, Mandy was a part of SmackDown, but then eventually did get traded to Raw, she still ended up staying on Raw. So, I mean, you want to talk about getting blown to bits? We are. So, I don't know. This is real. Like, we're in a very bad position right about now. So, there's really nothing more to add. So, I mean, we're going to have to look long and hard. Maybe with all the talent that did not get drafted, maybe we can scoop some of them up. I don't know. This is going to be tough. This is going to be a pretty rough, I guess you could say this is going to be pretty interesting to see. So, nothing more to say. Dee, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a very interesting round. Definitely gonna hurt SmackDown in the women's division, but yes, it's very strong in the tag team division. R-Truth going to Raw or staying on Raw, yeah, it brings the silliness of the 24/7, but at the same time, you still have one of your veterans running around, and helping out some of the younger guys that are going after that belt. So, in a way, R-Truth, is there to help out the younger guys, but also, give you. Sometimes you need the comic relief with Raw, especially lately when it's been so. But tonight's show so far hasn't been as bad. So, but yeah, the 24/7 belt, yeah, it's not worth much, but it's nice to have the comic relief when the show is not doing great for that week. Apollo Crews definitely is a big shot in the arm to SmackDown, and probably the biggest contender we're going to have now to go up against Lame Duck Boy. So, and of course you've got the Raw Underground. I'm curious, now that they've thrown some of those guys into this draft, if they're going up to the main roster, and if they are, what exactly is going to happen. We've already seen one of them come up for a storyline that they were doing with Braun Strowman for Raw Underground before Strowman got transferred over there today. So, we'll see what happens. Strowman, now that he's on Raw, may end up on Underground more often, or these guys may come up and fight him in the actual ring. I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But this definitely was a very interesting group here, all in all. But yeah, SmackDown definitely is going to have to go in and look at all the free agents, because I mean, you have free agents like Mickey James that hasn't been picked. I don't think Zelina Vega has been picked yet. There's so many really talented females out there. Plus, you got the rumor of Eva Marie coming back.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that she is not one of the ones that's going to end up on SmackDown, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think, Fletch, you guys are going to have to look at your free agents and see who you can pull in.
Well, I think after when Anthony makes his announcement on the 6th and final round, I actually have an idea of at least one that goes to SmackDown. And you just mentioned her a short time ago. So I'll let Florio make the announcement, and I'll let you know who it is. But it will be pretty obvious in a little bit.
Okay. So what's yours, Florio?
Well, we have another match to get into before that. We had a Raw Tag Team title match. The first title defense for our new champions, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. They defended against Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Outcome was never in doubt. Winner and still the Raw Tag Team champions, 12 minutes and 5 seconds. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. They retained the titles, which was no big surprise. Once we heard that Ziggler and Roode were going to SmackDown, we knew the writing was on the wall here. This night absolutely delivered on wrestling matches. New Day had a good match with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, but this was the true return match for Woods and Kofi. They went all out with a team that pushed them to their limit. It was great to see all these teams back at it. Roode has also been fantastic since returning, and Ziggler seems more energized working with the Glorious One. Tag team wrestling may have gotten a spark back with these wrestlers returning. So, something to think about there. Another 3.5-star match, no question about it. So, nothing more to say. MF. Outcome was never in doubt, but a damn good match, though.
And this makes me very optimistic for Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler now that they're heading to SmackDown. 3.5 stars, no doubt about it. Solid fight. It was really good. But again, this was the best that Roode's looked in a while. Ziggler looked amazing in the ring tonight. And to go up against a real continuity tag team, no doubt about it, was a pretty impressive performance. At the end of the day, we'll wait and see how it plays out. But I will say this will get interesting. So I really got nothing more to add. This was a solid match. And yeah, congratulations to, and I should say congratulations to the New Day for successfully defending the titles. And Friday night, you heard it, there will be their farewell match, so we'll wait and see how that plays out. But man, it's gonna become an end of an era for us. I mean, for all of the jokes, for all of the kidding aside, for all of the Michael Bullock doing his little slide trombone, to us doing our WWE World Tag Team Champion bit that we actually got to do on Friday. This is gonna be tough. And I gotta say, a lot of fans were not happy that this happened. A lot of people were upset. I was furious. Florio, in a way, he was feeling it both ways. Obviously, he was over the moon because he thought at the time he had commandeered the SmackDown Tag Team titles from us. But he also was probably upset because of the fact that how much he loved SmackDown, or how much he loved the New Day as well. So it kind of was a double-edged sword. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, there's nothing more to say. Dee, it's yours. 3.5 stars.
Definitely 3.5 stars. And now we're gonna have to see if they repackage Kingston and Woods as, New Day, the tag team, instead of New Day with being the three guys. They definitely proved they could go up against talent without having the third man standing on the outside. Um, they all look great. They did a great job. I really have nothing negative to say on it. It's good. This was really a good return and welcome to Raw match for Kingston and Woods. But now, yeah, we just kind of have to see what's going to happen Friday night when they do the farewell match, and now what's going to become of Big E since he's left behind, and now taking the singles road. If things go well for him, maybe somewhere in the future we'll have him going up against Roman Reigns or whoever has the big title on SmackDown. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for right now, it's a good start where they're at, and yeah, it's the end of a really big era here, and it's going to be hard to see them go their separate ways. But at the same time, it's going to be a breath of fresh air to see the new matches that we're going to get from the new champions that are going to the opposing shows. It'll be fun to watch Cesaro and Nakamura against the Street Profits. It'll be fun to see New Day with some of the guys that they've got still on Raw. It's going to be fun to see what's going to come out of it. And who knows, they may be building up some more tag teams. We may get some more call-ups from NXT down the road. Whatever they do, I have a feeling it's hopefully going to be a boost to both shows. You're still going to have the low point on each show. Right now, the low point for Raw is that tag team division, because SmackDown really has just pulled off from it. But at the same time, Raw has really pulled off of the women's division. So this is going to be a very interesting lineup of how this is going to end up in the end when it's all said and done. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens with that. Yeah, SmackDown has their season premiere Friday, but Raw has their season premiere next week. So we'll see what comes out of those with the new lineups as we progress into the next pay-per-view. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, the sixth and final round of the WWE draft, and here we have it. Titus O'Neil staying on Raw, Carmella staying on SmackDown. No big surprise. You knew Corey Graves was going to have a hand in that, obviously. Peyton Royce staying on Monday Night Raw. Only one real shakeup, and that was Aleister Black. He's going to Friday Night SmackDown. And Akira Tozawa staying on Monday Night Raw. So, the weakest round for Raw, no doubt about it. Titus O'Neil, I mean, what is he doing? What has he been doing lately? Not much of anything. Peyton Royce, well, I'm not all that high on her, honestly. She's right there with, she's right up there with Lana and all that. She's right around that dud territory. But, we'll have to wait and see. She needs a lot of work, but we'll see what happens. And Tozawa, obviously, 24/7 BS. So I'm stuck with that, unfortunately. So no doubt this was the weakest round for Raw. But SmackDown, I mean, MF wanted somebody for the women's division. Well, he's got Carmella. Although she's staying on the show. So I'm sure MF's got to be thrilled about that. So you can thank Corey Graves for that, MF, because Graves had something to do with that. So no doubt about it. And Aleister Black going over to SmackDown. So he and KO can continue their little rivalry only over on Friday nights. So So that's all I can say. Very weak round for Raw, solid round for SmackDown. So really nothing more to say. So MF, Princess of Staten Island staying put in the women's division, but you just got Aleister Black. I'm sure that's got to make you be. I'm sure you got to be thrilled about that.
I was very high on Aleister Black for a while. You know that, Florio. I've been very high on Aleister Black. That was a big pickup. But remember what I said? It's going to be a package deal. I'm probably going to guess Zelina Vega will also go to SmackDown Live. I'm almost certain now Zelina Vega will go. Normally they don't like to split the couples up, so I'm pretty sure Zelina will go to SmackDown. They're probably going to do a straight split with Andrade, and I think Andrade will probably stay on Raw with Charlotte. So right now, where we're sitting at, with Zelina going, that's a nice little upgrade for her, where maybe they could utilize her as maybe a next challenger for the SmackDown Women's title. But there's not only just about the rumors of Eva Marie, but you also know that Melina Perez also might be coming to WWE. And there was a vignette of when they had when Carmella was doing her little vignette thing, that there was another figure there, and some people think that it might be Melina Perez. So if Melina shows up, that's a major shot in the arm to SmackDown, because now you got one of the biggest veteran voices or leaders in that locker room. They're going to be back. Maybe we do get Mickie James. So, I mean, SmackDown definitely has a chance to really revamp themselves in the women's division. We'll see how it plays out. But you got that. Obviously, Aleister Black is a big name that we can get as well. So, I mean, there's a lot that still needs to be played out here that we haven't gotten yet. So, we'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, I'm happy with SmackDown, especially at the end. And we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. So, Dee Dee, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a good set of round picks as well. Probably the weakest link out of all of them was Peyton going to Raw, because she hasn't proved herself yet as a singles competitor. Titus, I hate to say, he's another. He's good in the ring, but he's another comic relief type person. We've seen the video where he tripped running out into the ring, but at the same time, he's Raw's big on, or WWE's big on him because of all the charity work he does. I mean, he's like the new John Cena, doing all this charity work for WWE. So in a way, it's still good to have him over there. Aleister Black to SmackDown, that's awesome. That's definitely going to be another one that can go after Zayn and possibly work their way up to the big title. Akira Tozawa, more comic relief, you can say there. So, and we all knew Carmella was already coming back, so that's no big news on that one. We knew she's coming back. We knew she would pretty much stay on SmackDown, because that's the only place that we've seen her vignette so far. So yeah, that one wasn't no big surprise with that. And yeah, there's a chance that Vega will be over with Black. So we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, I still see SmackDown's probably going to have to pull into some of the free agents to finish filling out the women's division. But at the same time, it's starting to build a pretty decent I wouldn't say great, but at least a decent women's division, and hopefully we'll see what happens and see if they can pull it together to at least give us something worthwhile in the women's division, because they certainly have stacked their cards in the tag division. So not much more I'm going to add. It's yours for you.
Okay. And then, of course, you remember what I mentioned earlier with the supplemental draft. Lana staying on Raw. Natalya going over to Friday Night SmackDown. Riddick Moss staying on Raw. The Riot Squad, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, they're going back to SmackDown. And Arturo Ruas from Raw Underground, he's staying on Raw. So, but there were some other picks that were announced. We already know about Mercedes Martinez. She's going back to NXT. Chad Gable, alias Shorty G, he's staying on SmackDown. It was announced on WWE social media platforms. And Monday Night Raw had a watch-along special. And Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado of the Lucha House Party, they're going to Monday Night Raw. So the Lucha House Party has now officially been split up with Kalisto staying on Friday Night SmackDown. So Dorado and Metalik are coming to Raw. I forgot to mention one other match. I was so caught up in the draft excitement. Ricochet against Cedric Alexander. Ricochet won the match by disqualification in 5 minutes. And Ricochet no longer has to deal with the Hurt Business. That was the stipulation. If he had won, then he would the Hurt Business would have to leave him alone. But if he had lost, then he would have had to join the Hurt Business. But besides, the match was a bit of a throwaway anyway.
Yeah, with a little tribute to Eddie Guerrero.
Yes, the Eddie Guerrero tribute, lying and cheating and stealing, all that. It was a fun match with a surprising finish. The intrigue of Ricochet potentially joining the Hurt Business was interesting, but he would not have worked in the group. This is much better, showing that the one and only is not only talented, but resourceful. Hopefully he can levy his Eddie Guerrero tribute into a push. He has a ton of potential, far beyond the stable feud on the horizon. The Hurt Business can fully focus on Retribution going forward. So that's all there is to say on that. Now, main event of the evening, the dual brand battle royale for the Raw for the opportunity to challenge Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship next week on the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. The winner of the match in 11 minutes and 25 seconds, and Lord give me strength, I cannot believe I am saying this name, Lana. Yup, that's right. Lana won the Battle Royal. We thought it was going to be Natty, but no, it was Lana. Lana won it. Oh, my God. MF, really?
Look, it was a crafty way to make the decision. Obviously, look, with everything that has happened, this is kind of them giving the olive branch to Lana. They know what has happened. She's been criminally underutilized on Monday Night Raw. And, you can talk about that this was Miro's fault, that he caused a lot of problems for Lana, especially after comments he made about WWE, and still makes comments about WWE. Look, she deserves at least a chance, an opportunity. And that's all that she's going to get. Now, I don't care about people arguing about the gimmick or this or that or blah, 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 blah. I don't give a crap. She is just as worthy of an opportunity than anybody else who is in that Battle Royale. And the thing was, once again, during the match, she paid a price. During the match, Nia Jax got eliminated. Basically, Shayna Baszler threw Nia out. It was a group elimination, and then Nia got eliminated. And the next thing you know, you saw what happened. So, Lana got put through the table again, 4th week in a row that happened to her. And everybody thought, oh, she's out. Comes down to Lacey and Natalya. Natalya looks like she thought she won it. One problem. she was outside of the, she was hanging on the apron. Everybody forgot about Lana. Lana was still in it, and the fight's over. So Lana gets the opportunity. She gets a chance of a lifetime next week. Obviously, they're not going to put the belt on Lana, but you needed an opportunity, and this is what you're going to get. Hopefully, they'll give Lana at least some time to at least get a little offense in. But the endings is basically, it's not in doubt. Obviously, this is supposed to be just to cover for the fact that Asuka probably is coming up on the 30 days where she needs to defend the title. So this is what you're going to get. They could have gone any other way with this. And especially now that Raw's got such a stacked women's division, you literally are scraping the barrel on this one, guys. Raw, you got so much potential, but yet you go to the bottom of the barrel on this one. Your logic don't make sense. Good for Lana. I'm happy for her. She deserves it. There's nothing more to say. This was an okay battle royale. Dee, it's all yours.
I don't know what to even say about it. I mean, giving Lana a chance at it, okay, fine. I'll go there, but all this time that she's been there, she hasn't really done much of anything. So really, she hasn't really proven that she deserves to go for this title. And no, she's not going to end up with it next week. I definitely agree with Fletch on that. She's not getting the title. That's going to stay with Asuka. But yeah, this, and then they don't even end the show with this match. I mean, we still have something else that goes on partially during the match, and then continues even into after the match. So they don't even end the show with the match. But yeah, I would say this was more of a spectacle than it was an actual match, because it was just everybody doing everything that they could, and then you end up with the lowest of the low that walks away with it. So we'll see what happens. But I guess after everything that she went through, I guess it ended up in the end being her night. But I guarantee you next week will not be her night. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, couple things here. First, Michael Bullock is here. That's the first thing. And because of how long the show has gone this evening, for this week only, I am not going to do a Tony's Take this week because we're running well over time here this evening. So, but next week there will be a Tony's Take. I'll have 205 Live, and of course Impact Wrestling. And as a bonus, I'm also going to, MF and I will also give you our predictions for the Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory pay-per-view event, their biggest event of the year. And I figure that's a way to make it up to you all, because we don't have much time. So with all that being said, let's get into our overall review of the show this evening before I catch Bullock up, so we can get Dee and MF out of here. So with that being said, I will. I'll take it. I'll take it for a spin. Or actually, MF. I'm sorry, MF starts it off. So MF, your final thoughts. Very good show tonight.
Very good show, because this was a solid draft night. There was really nothing bad about the show. The draft picks were good for both sides. I think honestly you could say that Monday Night Raw and SmackDown should be very happy with the draft picks that they got. At the end of the day, there's really nothing more to add here. I think it was a solid night, and yeah, so there's really nothing more to even think about. Congratulations, Monday Night Raw. You did very well. SmackDown, I'm happy for the guys. They really kicked it, and they really did really good as well. So, really nothing more to add here, Florio. This was easily 7.5. You could even say 8 out of 10 too. I think you can even make an argument for that. So, nothing more to say. Didi, yeah, I'll give it to Didi.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so Didi, it's all yours. So, thank you guys. Have a great night.
All right, we'll see you Wednesday, MF. All right, Didi.
Yeah, I pretty much can kind of agree with what Fletch said. I mean, it's about a 7.5 to 8, because it was very newsworthy. And of course, you had the draft on top of it, which made it even more newsworthy. Some of the storylines not so great, but it's all building and it's all setting us up for what we're gonna get the at the start of the new seasons for both shows. So and then you had little bits like Ricochet pulling the Eddie Guerrero bit, which I guess you could say that was a belated happy birthday to Eddie Guerrero, him pulling that bit. But yeah, that was fun to see. And then you got them even rehashing storylines that we really are sick of. But yeah, that was definitely a good night. They definitely brought their A game. So I have nothing really super negative to say about it. It was a fairly good show, and as long as it's newsworthy and they give us at least something to chomp the bits on to get us ready for either the next show or the next pay-per-view, I'm happy with it. So I don't know if I'll be there Wednesday, but I would definitely see you guys Friday. So good night, guys.
All right, good night, Didi, and we'll see you then. So what I will do, I'll just do an abbreviated Tony's Take instead of throwing it all out. I'll just give you the quick results. I'm not going to do a review. On Impact Wrestling, Brian Myers, Tommy Dreamer defeated Brian Myers via disqualification in 9 minutes and 22 seconds in a 1 3/4 star match. There was the Rohit Raju and Jordan Grace situation with the X Division Championship. Jordan Grace beat him in 1 minute and 20 seconds, but the title was not on the line. So a lot of nonsense there. Triple XL and the Rascals. The Rascals won it 6 minutes, 29 seconds in a 2 1/4 star match. Knockouts tag match. We had Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie against Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Rosemary Taya won the match in 9 minutes and 15 seconds, 2 3/4 star match. Deaners against Johnny Swinger and Crazy Steve. Deaners won in 2:49. That was an absolute dud. Motor City Machine Guns against Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Motor City Machine Guns won the match in 3 1/4 star match, 12:56 on that. That was a 7.5 out of 10 for that show. And next tomorrow night we'll have a health update on Rich Swann. Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz against Havoc and Nevaeh versus Rosemary and Taya Valkyrie in a 3-way match. Kimber Lee 1-on-1 with Kylie Ray and Madman Fulton against Doc Gallows in what will very likely be a hoss fight there. So that's really all we can say on that. So that's Impact Wrestling. Quick thought on 205 Live. Arya Daivari against Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas won the match by DQ in 9 minutes and 22 seconds. That was a 3-star match. D. Brian Kendrick against Ashante the Adonis. Adonis won the match in 8.5 minutes. That was a 3 1/4 star match. And 7.5 for 205 Live. So just wanted to get that out of there quickly. So not much more to say on that. So Michael Bullock, come on in. Sorry to keep you waiting, but I just wanted to get all that out of there. So let's bring the Phenom Michael Bullock in now. Bullock, if you're there, come on in. And
I'm here.
Yep, there you are. So I'm sure you heard about all the draft rumblings this evening, all the moves, and and everything else, and all the big matches that went down. So let's get your thoughts on this very good draft night edition of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, this was definitely a very good draft night edition of Monday Night Raw. Obviously, no surprise with some of the picks, especially Bayley sticking with SmackDown. But boy, Florio, you're certainly one happy man because your girl Alexa Bliss is back on Raw.
Our women's division, man. Our women's division. Oh boy, we got upgraded tonight, big time.
Yeah, but don't expect her to be part of the women's division, especially with her association with the other new member of Monday Night Raw.
The first bomb of the night.
Yeah, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
Yes, sir.
But let's just say, well, Jeff Hardy is back on Raw, but
yep.
You got the monster among men, Braun Strowman.
Oh, yeah.
And let's just say this Monday Night Raw just went bro with Matt Riddle, and I know you got to be gushing about that one.
I'm not hot. I don't like his gimmick, but I love his abilities.
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, and I heard about Lana winning that Battle Royal, so.
Really?
But there's. Yeah, I did hear about that, but I'm like, seriously? Did WWE really had to go this route? I mean,
yeah.
You could have gone with anybody else, but you had to go with this Jezebel? No.
Well,
no.
It was their way. It was their way of making it up to her for getting buried for the last month because of what Miro said about Vince on AEW. So.
Yeah, but still, I'm not a big fan of it.
I'm not either.
Yeah, and Elias returning, my goodness. And I ironically, I mean, it looks like Elias is a heel again,
which he's better off as.
Yeah, but of course, the Street Profits going to SmackDown. But what we saw was
they swapped belts.
They swapped the belts. So I knew it wasn't going to last that long, Florio. So
I kind of had a feeling, but I really wasn't sure. I mean, I said to myself, are they really going to go in this direction? Would they be crazy enough to do it? And sure enough, they were.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously wanted to do it. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with come Friday night when we officially start the new era of SmackDown, and then of course next week for the new era of Monday Night Raw with the draft picks. Obviously, I think there's still going to be some more. Is there going to be more?
Yeah, there's going to be free agents. There will be free agents, and they actually announced more draft picks on.
Chad Gable going to SmackDown, and Lindsay Dorado and Grand Metalik to Raw.
And it was also announced during the Raw talk. I don't know if you heard about this. They announced 5 more picks on the Raw talk show. Lana's staying on Raw. Natalia's going to SmackDown. Riddick Moss is staying on Raw. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, package deal, the Riott Squad, they're going to SmackDown. And I believe it was Arturo Ruas from Raw Underground staying on Raw.
Yeah, so all I can say is hopefully with Natalya going to SmackDown, hopefully they can start building her up again, because
definitely
breaking up from Lana was, to me, a good thing.
And a necessary thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was definitely a good night. So there's really nothing more to say. So with that being said, I'll see you Wednesday night.
Well, before you do, let me. I forgot to give my thought on the Battle Royal. It was about a 2.5 star. I mean, but while WWE took an unpredictable direction, it was not a good direction. And after repeatedly embarrassing Lana for months and not having either brand draft her, WWE wanted her to fight Asuka. This seems like a completely one-sided affair for both the result and the work in the ring to come. Interesting story, at least. I mean, Natty and Lana couldn't get a win together, so the Queen of Hearts walks out on her friend, only for Lana to stab her in the back when it mattered most. completely disrespectful to the women to distract from their supposed main event with McIntyre and Orton. That was a fight that did not need to end the show to sell the feud, but that's all. So seven. I could really go 7.5 to 8 out of 10 because we had 3 very good matches on this show here tonight, and some good segments and some good draft stuff. So very pleased with this show tonight. So hopefully more Raws like this in the future. So with that said, that will put the ball on this very long edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in this evening. We'll be back with you Wednesday night, 10:30 Wednesday Night Mayhem with MF, AEW anniversary show, as well as NXT. We'll get into that. Thursday night, College Football Thursday. The headliner, obviously, Georgia and Alabama. That's the big one right there. Friday night SmackDown, we'll review that. And then Saturday, we will have NFL Saturday, and then do this all again next week. So that's it. So until Wednesday for Wednesday Night Mayhem, it's Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and FKG 401 Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Mayhem, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed beyond anything else. Wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, and they play so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.